This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
I'm a 3D artist, and in this video, I'm going to redesign the logos of some famous YouTubers. This video was suggested by Griffin Carmody down in the comments, and I thought it sounded fun enough, but there's a lot of pressure making something for other YouTubers, so let me know if I at least did, alright, I guess. So the first logo I'm going to design is for videogamedunkey. He's a YouTuber who makes comical gaming videos and reviews and songs. His favorite game is Super Mario 64, so I thought I would make his logo in the Nintendo 64 style. Artists had to really make the most out of the hardware back then, so models had very low detail. This is Mario's model for the Nintendo Switch. He's got just under 10,000 vertices, and this is the model for the N64. He's got 480. So for Dunkey's logo, I'm going to be referencing the Big Dunkey vinyl that he sells on his website. I decided to use Bowser as a reference model because of this similar shape, and without further ado, Nintendo 64 style Big Yoshi Donkey, let's make it. The Big Dunkey model is based on artwork from Super Mario RPG, commonly known to cursed image enthusiasts as Big Yoshi. I looked around for a bit to find a 3D modeled version, and quick warning, what I found can only be described as beautiful. I finally found a decent model of Big Yoshi, and he's real big. He's also got 350,000 vertices on him, so we gotta get those numbers down. I started messing around with it, reducing the vertices, did that for like an hour. I also noticed the models from that era are usually symmetrical, so I made that happen too. I finally got it down to around the same density as the other models, and now it's time to start the creative part. So some older models have complex textures or patterns that are reused creatively, and some seem to rely on gradients or solid colors. In my case, I'll do a little bit of both since there's not that much texture I need to convey, minus a few key areas. I started just by laying out the major areas to soup up later. I also started modeling my own features in, like the hair, the tail, the sunglasses, the ears, and a few more things. Finally, I started making the textures. This included the pattern for the teeth, the hair, the suit, the tie, the buttons, gradients, and really everything that was just a solid color up to this point. After some cleanup, the model's looking like an absolute snack, and if you look at the texture on the tie, you can actually see it says subscribe please, I'm almost at 1 million. The model's looking great, but it needs a background. I decided to use the iconic Donkey Kong scene with a spotlight on the floor, but it was not easy to find. I went on this expedition to find the texture for that room, but all I could find was another wood texture from a different area. I slapped it on the floor and used texture math to draw a spotlight effect on the floor that looks like it's baked, but I can still change the texture underneath and the radius of the spotlight quite easily. That is to say, in today's render engines, we have real-time lighting and shadows, but back then it was not the case, so we have to imitate that as well. For a final touch, I lowered the resolution and made sure the texture projection was blurred a bit, and well, for my first model in this style, I think I did alright. But before I do Pewdiepie's logo, here's what it would look like on Dunkey's channel, and here's what it would look like as a banner minus the websites and things. And speaking of websites, real quickly guys, today's video is partnered with Squarespace, the best place to be for web design.
If you need a website, then you need Squarespace, not to be confused with Octahedron Space. That one got canceled.
With its award-winning templates, you can effortlessly turn your website idea into reality, whether you're trying to make a portfolio or run a business. Squarespace is there to help you get that premium look without that premium effort, which is kind of like my videos. I mean, I did spend 13 hours filming this, but some of that was just... Well, whatever your use case happens to be, Squarespace makes it all very simple. You can automatically link your social media posts to your site. It can automatically resize images to fit whatever screen they're on. They really focus on ease of use, which is invaluable if you're trying to save time and cut down on complexity. So head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/DanielCraft to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Let's get back to YouTube logos. All right, so the next YouTuber's logo I'm gonna redesign is Pewdiepie. He's had a ton of logos over the last 11 years he's been on the platform, so there's plenty of ways to go about this. His current banner and logo kind of has this grunge feel to it, which is why I'm using the patisserie model I found on Sketchfab as reference. I think it would be really cool if I could make PewDiePie, Marzia, and the pugs in this style, because that would be a cool banner. Let's make it. So first I made a material that generates an outline around an object, which is slightly darker colored than the main one. For the hair, we start with a loaf that can be controlled by moving a curve around, but unfortunately the outlines keep messing with each other, so we're just gonna sculpt it instead. Yeah, this will work. I messed around with the hair for a while, and then I realized headphones. So I made those, and it saved me from having to deal with the hair. I made the cool wave pattern and the cat ears for the headphones. Made a shirt based on one of the 2 clothing brands he has. Or 3, I think, I don't know. Then I made the rest of the body, pretty simple stuff. So this is when I entered overcomplication mode. After some research, I sloppily drew all of his tattoos. Well, almost all of them. Then just gotta crank up the biceps a little bit. My man works out pretty religiously. So next I was gonna make Marzia, and I did that by duplicating the model I just made with the intent to modify it. I'm gonna level with you guys real quick. I have made some messed up things in this 3D program of Blender, but this is on an entirely different level. As soon as I conceived this intellectual property, I packed up my workspace, sat down for a while, but when I came back, the textures were gone, my will to complete it was gone, and my sanity disappeared on November 7th, 2009. But I wasn't done yet. I still had a logo to make, and I was not about to quit just because the first attempt made me question whether technology was a mistake. I wrote out a list of things he enjoys. One thing that caught my eye was the show Evangelion, which he rated a 10. This show happens to have funny pose, and so my brain went, yes. As for the art style, I've really been enjoying the low poly art style, which has seen some pretty cool pieces of late. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences, let's make it. I started by building out the room behind him, starting with the mirror and putting a placeholder for where he will sit. I extended the wall and started making this into an actual room. I even made the backlight thing around the mirror for dramatic lighting and started building a desk area. Fun fact, the wall in front is invisible to the camera, but from the inside of the room, it actually is still there, so we can keep the light out. And it says, please subscribe. I started working on the figure more to build out the main shape, but there's still a long way to go. After making the glasses, a placeholder for the hair, and some headphones, the composition is really starting to come together. I couldn't help myself and I made the sunglasses material, and yeah, this is gonna be really cool. Make those headphones larger though, those things are substantial. I put the famous chair behind him and modeled the individual light bulbs around the mirror, rimmed up the sunglasses and added cat ears to the headphones, and now we get to do the fingers. We do some snake hook sculpting to start us off. At first it looks extremely messed up, but just give me a minute, okay? Many things are my forte. Sculpting might be lower on that list. Great, he's got baby fingers now. If you would trust me for a second, wait, let me grab my human anatomy book real quick. Yep, that's not how joints work. So somewhere along the way I realized that fingers have 3 joints, so I fixed that. Then I have the skin creases where they go, fingernails, knuckles, and little wrinkles on them, and then I just... which of course is the veins that protrude from the top of the hand. Wait a minute, this is supposed to be a low poly model. Oh, baby fingers, no! Okay, so now we remove all the detail and mirror it to the other side. The progress render is looking pretty good, so we're just gonna start doing the basic materials. Make the shirt black, make the tables shiny. This would be way easier if I just made reaction videos. Leave a like if you appreciate my suffering. That's always nice. Well, this is also starting to look real nice. Did some work on the chair, lower the detail on everything, gave him a funny hair strand that sticks up. I should have been asleep hours prior to the current time. I added a few more details, like the monitor that's always in the shot and the microphone that, well, finally I finished up the renders, and I think it's looking pretty insane. Here's what it would look like on this channel.
You fool. That's not a redesigned. You didn't even take anything from the original.
That's where you're wrong, Oliver. Great Britain X Premium 22,000. I wasn't done yet.
There is no such thing as a coincidence.